got Jerry Gulke here going to tell us up on what went on this week and what he's looking for next week. Jerry?
Yes, thank you. Today was another one of those interesting days at the end of the week. In particular, we had Informa Economics, the former Sparks company, come out with their revised estimate on acres, and I don't recall whether I mentioned it, but one of their representatives spoke for us at a couple seminars we had, including the last one that had in Marshall, Minnesota, where those people that are involved in this were there, and we were sharing some ideas. And the general consensus back then was we thought it was going to be very difficult to get farmers to increase corn acres as much as everybody thought, since we knew all those unplanted wheat acres are going to go someplace. But it appears now that's coming true. So this may be just intentions of farmers, obviously, and weather will certainly play the role as to whether and price going into after that crop report on the 31st. But at any rate, today, Informa came out with 88.4 million acres of corn, and that compares to last year of 86.5, I believe, but more importantly, it compares to the USDA's February outlook, where they thought there would be 89 million acres. And again, the February outlook the USDA had was the first time their USDA economist and people could look at things and say, based on what we see out there and trends and prices and selling prices and so forth, this is what we think. So very close to what USDA said, but certainly not 90 million or 91 or 92 million like some think. I personally, we're finishing up our survey of clients, and taking longer this year because there's so much uncertainty in this whole thing with what are you going to plant on the wheat acres, trying to get an answer out of that. So, but I can't argue with what they're saying. I think for us, we're also seeing the same thing where we're just finding that acres, a lot of farmers are not planting more corn, and I think the thing that impresses me about the whole thing is the consistency of it. And we see a consistent area where farmers are concerned about the planting, getting it harvested. There's a lot of us out there still have corn to harvest, let alone get that ground ready to plant again. So I think as we look at this individually, we say to ourselves, when we got done planting soybeans last year, we had last year's soybean acres of 76 million or whatever, ready to plant 77 million acres last year to plant. And once that's planted, that's ready for corn. And and we know last fall a lot of acres didn't get planted to wheat, so maybe they planted the soybeans again, and the corn acres, and then planted corn on those soybean acres. But nevertheless, pretty much ready to plant corn. So it's the difference between 77.5 or whatever it was last year to 86.5, about 10 million acres or 8 to 10 million acres of what we would deal as being a double crop corn, or maybe it's corn on wheat acres or corn on barley or whatever. But somewhere in that neighborhood, you've got to ask yourself, how much of that corn didn't get tilled last year, and what's the likelihood of that not going to corn again because they couldn't get it in? And we're seeing that farmers are believing themselves they aren't going to be able to get that corn either harvested, or if it was harvested last fall and not tilled in the spring, and then get it planted in a timely fashion or in a ground preparation fashion. So we're not seeing the intended corn be as high, at least as Informa, and but we won't know the real truth until the government interviews. I think they say 35,000 farmers, and certainly Informa doesn't